5.000 personas han escalado el monte Everest, 500 personas han estado en el espacio y 300 personas han visitado todos los países del mundo, pero nadie lo ha hecho sin volar. Thor pretende ser la primera persona en visitar todos los países del planeta sin montarse a un avión y sin volver a su país de origen hasta completar su objetivo. Ya van 8 años, solo 7 países más por visitar. Acaba de llegar a Australia, el país número 196 en la lista, y hoy lo tengo en el canal para contar un poco de su magnífica experiencia.
Yeah.
Hola Thor.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Muy bien, gracias.
Bueno.
Muy buen español.
Gracias.
Well, firstly, I would like to say welcome to Australia. It's
Thank
the
you.
place I have called home for the last 6 years, and I think it's a beautiful
Lucky.
country. Is your country 196 on this
Yes,
trip?
196 without flying, without going home.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, tell us a little bit about that journey. Well, first, a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Where are you from? How old are you? Are you single? Do you have a partner?
My name is Torbjørn Cederløf Petersen, which is a complicated name for most people. It's because I'm from Denmark. And Denmark is a small country in the north of Europe. And I have my wife back home in Denmark. I'm 43 years old now. I was 34 years old when I left Denmark.
So it has been
yeah.
8 years.
Yeah, it's been 8.5 years almost. Yeah.
Wow. So your journey started, like, the idea is to visit every single country of the world without flying, like never going into a plane.
Yes.
And did you set up to yourself another rules?
Yes.
Like what is your budget, or is there any rules involved?
Yeah, so there are 3 cardinal rules. One is I cannot fly under any circumstances. So if a snake bites me and they have to take me with a helicopter to the hospital, then the project is over.
Oh.
So no flying. And then another rule is that I cannot go home until I finish with the last country or if I give up.
Oh.
So, and this is to secure that it's one unbroken journey. And then the third rule is it must be more than 24 hours in a country. So if I stay for 23 hours, I did not visit the country. But on average, I spend much more time. I think on average, it's about 14 days per country.
Oh, that's good. At least one day in each
Yes.
country, of course, fair enough.
Yeah.
And when we are traveling around Australia, and many questions we ask is, how do we fund our trip? Because people sometimes think, oh, you're traveling, you're a millionaire,
Yeah.
like you don't need to work, or because we don't have the normal kind of jobs that
Yeah.
people see. So in yourself, like in your case, how did you do it?
Well, it's a bit of a long story. I'll try to make it really short. So I have financial backing from a Danish company called Ross. This camera from Ross DK and from GEOP.
Okay.
Those are geothermal companies or companies that are invested in geothermal energy. So that should be sustainable energy, and they do the well management and this kind of stuff. So they sponsor the budget, which is $20 per day.
Wow.
And the $20 is set as an average, so it means that I can some days spend much more and some days I spend no money whatsoever. But generally the $20 should cover my accommodation, my meals, my visas. What else do we have? Transportation, of course.
Transportation, the main one.
That too. So they have sponsored the first year and a half. And then, unfortunately, they couldn't sponsor anymore. So then I spent my own savings, and then I borrowed money and spent all of it. Then I borrowed more money and spent most of it. And then I had some social following online, and I asked if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can help me with the budget. And they were very, very generous. So they started funding, and that helped me for about a year. Then I did some speaking engagements that were people, most of them I do for free, but sometimes I got a little bit of money. I started writing some articles.
Oh, that's very good.
And then my sponsorship came back. The company got stronger and they said, we can cover you again. So now I have like combined between my followers that helped me and the company. Yeah.
There's many ways to travel. You
Yeah.
just need to figure it out. And what about the preparation? So once the idea came to your mind that I'm gonna do this crazy project, and then to the day you start actually doing it in 2013.
Yes.
How long did you take to prepare the trip, and what was the preparation you have to do for yourself?
Well, it was about 10 months. But I can't say that it was 10 months stressful, hard, in detail, get up 8 o'clock in the morning, go to bed, really late. And in the beginning, it was just talking to friends and
Thinking about it.
The idea was growing. And then the last 2 or 3 months, it got super structured. So we need to have a website. What's the project name going to be? What will I pack? Where will I start? Where will I finish? Who's going to be project partners? And all of this. But there were a lot of things to think about. When you're not flying, then you need to work out the logistics. It's much, much harder, of course. And then you have some places across the world where maybe you have no idea how you can manage. Like, how do you cross the Atlantic Ocean? Can you find a sailboat, or how do you even do that? Or can you get on board a container ship? How is that possible? And things like that.
Wow, it's crazy. It's crazy, the cheap containers and stuff. I have seen the photos you put, and it's so amazing. Like, hard, but as well hard.
Did you see the one with the rainbow?
Oh, no.
Well, I have that as video as well. I've never seen that, and the officer on board, he had also never seen it. So there was a beautiful rainbow. Yes. So the rainbow came down, and the end of the rainbow was straight in our path.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really astonishing. Plus, we had, we're getting off track now, but we had calm weather all the way from Hong Kong to Australia, and they said that's never happened before. It was just calm and beautiful. We saw dolphins and whatnot.
Well, after many years in Hong Kong, finally.
Yeah.
Oh, well, me being as a Colombian, I know how hard it is to get visas, and I know, well, probably as a Denmark it's a little bit less hard than as a Colombian, but still it's a long process, a lot of logistic. Like, which one has been one of the visas that has been the hardest to get, and how did you manage to get all of them?
Which one has been the hardest to get? There have been quite a few, to be honest, and some of them have been hard in different ways. The visa for Equatorial Guinea, which is the only Spanish-speaking country in all of Africa, but it's a notoriously closed-off country. And I think I went to 4 or 5 different embassies and some consulates. But you have to remember, I'm not flying, so I have to travel over land to go to these different places. And then when I eventually got it, the borders were closed and I could not enter the country. And then the visa was good for 1 month. And after 27 days of biting my nails and speaking to everybody and trying everything, I met a man from France who had access and could bring me across the border. So I managed. It took me 4 months to visit this one country. And that was my country number 100. But a different story to explain how complex it has been is, well, there are 2 countries called Congo. So you have the Republic of Congo and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I was in Brazzaville in the Republic of Congo trying to go to Kinshasa in DRC. And they would not give me a visa. They would not allow me to apply for the visa at their embassy unless I was a resident. So they say, go home to Denmark. And I say, well, I have my project rules, and Denmark's 5,000 kilometers. I just want to go on the other side of the river, and they do not care. So at the end, I became a resident in the country.
To be able
so I could apply for the visa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody understands, just you, what you have been through, all those logistics.
With Iran, when you're from Denmark, with the Danish passport, you can go to Iran and you can fly to 4 different international airports and get visa on arrival. So that sounds very easy. But if you're not flying and you cross the land border, you need to apply at the embassy. And they do not understand why you do not want to fly. So it took weeks and weeks and weeks to get it.
To explain it, yeah? There is any reason why you didn't want to fly?
Yes, it has never been done before.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's a small community of people who have been to every country in the world. We're not sure exactly how many, but certainly less than 300, maybe a little bit more than 200 people. And nobody has done it completely without flying. So I have 7 countries more, and then I can say I was the first.
In Colombia, in our culture, family is extremely important.
Yeah.
And well, I'm pretty sure many people that are watching this video have been wondering, how do you manage to be apart from your family and your partner, now wife, for 8 years? So how do you manage that?
It's not easy. But I think it is easier for me, it's far easier for me coming from Danish culture than it would be for you coming from Colombia. Because the family structures and the dynamics of it are very different. But my family was also very international. So my mother is from Finland, my father is from Denmark, so we were used to going across borders to visit family, and we're used to having distance. So sometimes I would not see my grandmother for 6 months because she was in Finland and I was growing up in Denmark. So we were used to having a little bit of separation and distance. But I missed them, and I didn't know it was going to be this many years. I have not seen my mother for maybe 5 years. I have not seen my father for 4.5 years. I see my wife more or less every 3 to 4 months. But with the pandemic, suddenly I didn't see her for 1.5 years, which was very, very difficult for both of us. It's not easy. Also, not just family, but my friends. I miss my friends, and I miss the familiarity of things.
That led me to the other question, that is sometimes loneliness.
Yeah.
When we travel in, I don't know, people see one face, that is sometimes social media and the good things, but just the person that travels, they know what is behind.
Yeah.
And there are any moments when you have been extremely lonely?
Yeah, very often, I think. So it's difficult to explain, but I suppose it's similar to going to a party, and the room is full of people, but for some reason you feel alone at the party. Yeah. And I think the reason why I feel like that often is because people cannot comprehend what I have been through, and how much work it was, and all the resources and everything to get to where I am in my life. And people, they look at me and they say, it's so wonderful you're traveling, because the way people relate to what I do is they relate to themselves. Mm-hmm. And they say their life, if they travel, they do it for 1 or 2 reasons. They either travel for holiday, and then it's enjoyment and spend money and get drunk and dance and have a good time, or they travel for work or something similar to that, and then it's a hotel and a conference room and very specific, and then they go back. And then they look at what I do and they say, well, it's definitely not work. So it must be enjoyment, it must be fun. But then the reality of it is that they see the top of the iceberg. I take a nice photo of a sunset and they say, oh, nice sunset. But my entire day could have been meetings and the internet pages and research and communicating and whatnot.
Denies, visas denies and everything. There's so much struggle behind. Yeah. It's good that you tell us the other side.
Well, both is there, yeah. It is wonderful sometimes. There are many good experiences and many nice people, and I taste food I never tasted before, and many things. But I'm full, and I was full after 2 years, and it's 8 years now. Yeah, but you have to finish. Yeah, I'm trying. You're gonna get there, you will see. Now that we're talking about stories, there has been any moments when your life has been in danger or you have felt unsafe? Is there anyone you can tell us? Well, so for me, danger comes in different forms. Mm-hmm. There is danger when you know you're in danger. Yeah. This can be someone puts a gun in your face and then you know, okay, this is dangerous. But danger can also be that you get inside a bus and maybe the driver had a big argument with his wife, so his mind is not about traffic and driving safe. Maybe he doesn't have a driver's license. Maybe the mechanic didn't really check the bus, and maybe the other drivers on the road are crazy. Yeah. So maybe your life is a danger, but you don't really know. I think I've been in that kind of danger many times with many buses and many modes of transportation. I was on a container ship where I was sure we were going to sink. We were in a storm for 4 days. The ship was all over the place, and if you didn't hold on, you would fall on the floor. It was impossible to sleep. It was difficult to go to the toilet, to have a shower. Many things. It was very complex. And we were in the North Atlantic in the winter time. The water was freezing. Help was far away. It was close to where Titanic sank. Oh. So it was just crazy. But everything was fine, and we got away. And so everything was good. And then I have been in some situations where I was in Libya, which I love Libya. I think Libya is an amazing country. I worked in Libya for 2 years when I was younger, and it was wonderful to come back and see the culture again. But Libya has changed a lot, and they have had a lot of armed conflict and a lot of difficulties and many refugees and so on. And I crossed 2 checkpoints together with a police officer that picked me up at the border. And I don't think I could cross these checkpoints without him. And then when I was there, I walked around a bit and I found 1 dead body and on the beach. And then I was terrified. I didn't know why there was a dead body and maybe I could be next and so on. Oh. And I found a second one and I feel even worse. And then I found a third one and I started to realize that these were maybe boat refugees where the boats sank and they came back. And I found in total 5 dead bodies. And I didn't feel good. I couldn't talk with anyone about this, and I suddenly realized how out of control the situation was, and how uncertain my destiny could be in that moment. And so I spent 1 more night, and the next day I had help to come out of the country again. And I called my wife, and I called friends, and I started. And then one time in Central Africa, I was in a taxi in the middle of the night. This is a story I've told many, many times. But so in the middle of the night, it's just a taxi driver and me. We're on a dirt road for many, many hours. It's dark. There's no life, no villages, no nothing. And then suddenly, through the dust and everything, the headlights, they shine on three shadows. And they stop us and they have guns and they were drunk and they were violent. And one of them was super upset. And this is a part of the world where life is not very important, and very quickly you can disappear. And it's easy to make people disappear in a situation like that. The animals will eat you in no time. So from that moment when they when they got us out of the car, I thought this is over. Nobody knew I was there. Nobody knew. I was supposed to be 800 kilometers away. This is the last time when I reported where I was. Yeah. And then I had this idea I would cross a different border. And it was such a hostile situation. And it went on for a long time, and almost like a miracle. Suddenly I got out of the situation and continued. So I think that's the closest I've ever been to.
That's so scary.
That was. But you have to remember, I was in a country where I met hundreds, if not thousands, of nice people who gave me a place to sleep, or gave me some food, or I play football with the children, and there's so many nice things in the same region.
Different realities.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about stories, there are as well the other sides, the beautiful moments, the amazing stories, the perfect sunsets you have seen. There are any lessons you have learned, like that stay with you?
I think one thing is to tell somebody, let's say, I have been to so many countries, in my experience, people are nice, it's peaceful, and so on. And then you say, yeah, okay, I believe you. But something else is then you go out and you see it for yourself, and you bring it into your heart. And I have that experience. I know that the world is not what we see on TV. I know there are bad things in the world. This I have also seen. But the proportion of it is off in the way we see it in movies, we see it on Facebook, we see it in stories when we talk to each other and so on. The vast majority of this planet is just people who are trying to do normal lives. They have barbecue, music, dancing, they tell jokes, they have their sports, they have family, they have jobs, school, and so on. And they're not trying to get in trouble. They're not trying to harm you. And if you ask for advice or for help, normally, if it's free, they will give it. They will point you, say, you have to go this way, or I can translate this, or I know one guy, I can call him, and so on. And that's like 99.999% of everybody. But the cameras are always showing the worst of the worst. Yeah. So, and people see that almost all day. So they start thinking that the world is on fire. And it's really not. There's so many things we need to improve, for sure. There's a lot of poverty as well. There's a lot of, there are many things. We can start talking about that and stop in 2 years. Yeah. But the world is in much, much better shape than what most people they think. Yeah. And that's what I've taken away with me. I think that's the main thing.
At the end, all of us, doesn't matter where we are. We are just human beings.
Well, people are just people.
Yeah.
You know, it's all down to bases.
Little things, music, flavor of food.
Everywhere.
Laugh.
I was in North Korea and I was seeing things that they do in South America. I mean, like people are people, you know. Yeah. Men standing, sharing a cigarette, children pushing each other, and this kind of stuff.
So now that we're talking about countries, well, I have to ask you about Colombia, of course.
Sure.
So, well, how was your experience in Colombia, and is there any particular memory that comes to your mind when I mention my home country, or South America?
Colombia was my country number 51. And I arrived on a boat. I was coming from Panama, and I came into Turbo.
Well done, Turbo.
And from there, I traveled to Medellin, and I traveled to Bogota, and then I continued to Quito in Ecuador. And when I was in either Bogota or I was in Medellin, and I'm not sure, but I was inside a very, very beautiful park, and I was just sitting, looking at all the plants and birds flying about and enjoying the atmosphere, and very, very different from my country, and I really enjoyed it. It was nice. And then there was an open area, and there was another bench, and there was a young man and a young woman, and they were kissing and holding hands, and so it's a very nice environment. And I'm sitting there, and then suddenly I hear something in the bush next to me. I think, what is this? It sounds big. And then all of a sudden, a dragon comes out.
A dragon?
A dragon. I've never seen anything. Only in movies I've seen something like this. It was some sort of lizard, but it was huge, massive.
God, no
I've never
idea.
seen, with long claws, and it had like this huge spiny thing on its back, and I was like walking out like
Maybe
this.
iguana.
Maybe this was this. For me, this was a dragon.
No idea.
And I take my feet up like this, and it's walking past me, and then I can see the couple, and they're laughing at me. They're like, don't worry, tranquilo, tranquilo.
Tranquilo.
And then it walks out in the open area, and it walks over to them, and it lies down in front of them like a dog, and just is sleeping and resting.
I'm pretty sure it was iguana.
It was a dragon.
Well, we'll see. I know this question is probably very hard to answer because I get asked, and it's hard to decide that which place is your favorite. But I would like to ask you, if it's not your hometown, which place would you settle down? Like, which country do you think I would like to live there?
It's a very, very difficult question, especially because I recently spent 2 years in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is very special to me. But in all honesty, I don't know if I would settle in Hong Kong because many things are changing and the future is uncertain. Maybe I would answer Iceland, and I don't know if I would go for the capital. The capital is Reykjavik, but Iceland is a really nice country. It's isolated. It's more like a village environment. Only 300,000 people living there. It's a modern country. It's beautiful. There's plenty of adventure to be found in Iceland. The background of the country is Viking culture and Viking history. It is quite isolated, but I think I could have a very, very nice life in Iceland.
Okay. So you just have 7 countries left to finish your journey.
Yes.
How long would you think it would take you?
I think best case,
Thinking positive.
best case 1 year, and realistically between 1 year and 1.5 years.
And then, what is going to happen? I get this question asked a lot, like, what are you going to do when you finish the lap of Australia? And I
Yeah.
don't even know, and I know it's hard for you to think, but...
Well, I will sleep for 1 month, and then when I wake up, I will shave. And if we do not have a child at that point, my wife and I, then we will start working on that and see if we can start a family. I'll see my family, I'll see my friends, I will find my feet in Denmark. Then I hope to produce a book. I would like to share my stories and my experiences from around the world. And I would like to see if I could build a life around motivational speaking and public speaking at schools and universities and wherever people will hire me to come.
Of course. All of you, be ready for the book one day. And well, to finish, in my videos, I like to tell stories, to motivate, to, I don't know, always share lessons. If there's something, a piece of advice that would you give to yourself but 8 years ago, before you started this trip, that maybe you have changed your mind back then?
I would tell myself not to care too much what people they think about me, not to worry too much about if they like me or if they don't like me, or if what I'm doing is the right thing or not. At the same time, not be a terrible person, but just live life, be as good a person you can be, and not be too concerned about what other people they think if you look the right way or you speak the right way, and if you behave the right way, if you like the right things and all of this. I think that's it's a big problem for me, especially. What do other people think about me?
Many
Leave
have
it.
that problem.
Yeah.
That's good. That's nice. So, well, thank you so much for your time, Thor.
Yeah, thank
and I
you.
hope you finish soon.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, you will get there. Well, thank you so much for watching. Gracias por vernos y les voy a dejar las redes de Thor para que lo sigan, vean el viaje tan especial que tiene y todo lo que escribe tan chévere aquí debajo. Gracias y gracias por ver mi primer video en inglés.
Gracias.
Chao.
That's a dragon. Especially that size.
Yeah, it's an iguana. There are so common.
I
We
was
have it at
surprised.
school.
It's just